Today we have the honor of having Ron and Nan Deal with us. Hey, Ron and Nan, how are y'all?
We are good.
We're good.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
having us.
having us.
So we're here to talk about your book.
Mm.
Hang on one second.
There it is.
There it
Mindful
is.
Marriage. Yeah.
Hey, I
There
got the same
it
book.
is.
Now I have to say, Ron, when you talked about the book, you sent me a link to
Mhm.
like a questionnaire. And I was answering those questions, and I was so proud of myself because I was like, look how far I've come.
Uh-huh.
And I think
Mm.
I even replied to you and said, man, since I learned a nacho, none of this applies to me.
So you're not mindful? Is it
No, no, no.
That's really what it comes down to, David.
Yes. But it just goes to show that even across Nacho Kids and across your platform, it's the mindfulness, it's the self growth, the self development that helps us to be better couples.
Mhm.
Well, it really does. And by the way, I need to tell your audience, so that assessment is free, and we're going to give you guys a link. You can put it into the show notes for anybody who wants to go online and learn what your reactive coping style is. Doesn't that sound horrible? It just turns out that reactivity is what drives a lot of the negativity
Oh yeah.
in all of our relationships, not just blended families, but marriage, parenting, co-parenting, former spouses, on and on it goes. And so knowing how that works in you is really, really, really important.
Yes, 100%. I know I used to be very reactive. Pre nacho.
For those who are not watching, there was a silent amen from David.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can attest she's telling the truth.
Yes. Yeah. But
Well,
go ahead.
hey, you're amongst a friend
Yes.
because that's just me, and that's just how I was raised. And lead with your emotions, lead with your feelings, and come on in. The water's warm.
Yeah, you're
I
not
mean,
alone. You're not alone.
You
Yeah.
are not alone.
Yeah,
We're
my
all-
mom was a very reactive person.
Mm.
And so we learn what we're taught, right?
Right,
Through
right.
examples.
What you see,
And
yeah.
so that was really hard for me to make sure I didn't do that. And even with my son as a
Mm.
parent, I knew I did not want that relationship to be the same
Right.
as it was with my mom. So
Yeah.
I worked really hard to make sure that I didn't just yell at him because I was angry.
Mhm.
And, or like with Nacho one yelling at the stepkids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's so great. It was freeing. It was really honest to
Yes.
God freeing once I realized how to do this, how to not react, how to
Mhm.
pause and think about what I want to say and ask myself, is it out of love? Is it out of concern? Or is it out of judgment? All
Mm.
that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, what we're talking about here is, can I put on self-control in
Mm.
my worst moments so I can bring a better me to the next moment? Now
Mhm.
that just sounds, oh yeah, wonderful, easy, happy. But it turns out that for all of us, there are some neurological things at work that activate us into reactivity. And so putting the pause between trigger and reactivity, that putting
Mm.
that self-control in the middle of that moment is super difficult.
Mhm.
And yet it can be a game changer for relationships.
Yeah, I have to say there was one part. Let me put on my glasses because I've gotten old. And I wrote this down because I wanted to bring it up. I thought it was kind of funny. Okay. So I think it's chapter 7, it's about choose to emotionally regulate.
Okay.
And you talk about a man that lost his kid on a Disney cruise and how the
Mm.
wife reacted. And instead of her flipping out on him and screaming, you crazy, you lost our kid. It was, that must have been difficult. I busted out laughing
And why were you laughing?
because, and
Because she'd flip out. That's why.
I'm thinking I'm very emotionally regulated now, right?
Mhm.
But I don't see that coming out of my mouth if you lost my kid.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Which is the point. And for the context there, for those who haven't read the Mindful Marriage yet, this woman, Asian American, comes from an Asian background, shame, based parenting, and huge emphasis on the mother being responsible for the children. And so for this particular woman, she took that on from the day they had kids together, and what that turned into was a high control out of her. And control was being angry with her husband, criticizing him, being on his back constantly about things and not doing it her way, and on it goes.
The
So
normal wife thing, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And so she was learning the self-regulation stuff that we teach in this book. And so when that moment came where she got a message, hey, your child is okay, we found him. And she's like, wait a minute, he was lost. I don't know anything about it. You know, that you want to talk about triggering. That was a massive triggering moment for her. But she had to slow herself down. She did the 4 steps that we talk about, and there's a whole process to getting into this, these 4 steps. But asking herself, wait a minute, what's going on? What do I know about my husband? What I know about him is that he's responsible. He cares for our kids. He loves them a lot. Something must have happened. For me to just go off on him without knowing the circumstances would be wrong. Number 2, for me to go, well, wait a minute, what has his experience been like over this amount of time when our child was? She was able to slow everything down.
She must have had to walk from one side of that ship.
Now that part I don't know, but yes, exactly. What does it take to put on that self-control to not be the reactive self that's only going to make things worse?
Right.
Yes.
Well, and to think about him too, and show some grace and some mercy and some, some restraint. And I think probably in her response, it only moved them towards one another instead of polarizing them.
Right.
Which is what we do when we get reactive.
Yeah.
When I'm
100%.
reactive, Ron doesn't want to be around me, and vice versa. It's
Right.
not an attractive thing.
Well, and it's a lot like guilty parent syndrome. As a step parent, you may not understand guilty parent syndrome, but you need to try to understand it for your partner's sake. Once you can look at it through their eyes, if they only see their kid half the time, or they're going through this with their kid, or they don't know what to do either, it helps you to have that compassion that you wouldn't have if you reacted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
The thing about the reactivity we talk about and unpack in this book is, and this was my journey too. So we want your listeners to know, I mean, they know me as a blended family teacher, author, that kind of person. This book is our personal story,
Right.
wrapped around the principles of our coach and mentor and counselor, who basically is a genius, and he's gone on to create this model that is used around the world. And we just happen to be in the lucky recipients of that early on, and back in
Very
2007, that journey started for us. So all of that to say, chapter 1, page 1 of this book tells the day our marriage blew up, and we hit a wall, and we had to get help. And then the change that it has brought to us is just incredible.
Yeah.
And here's what I learned. Here's one of the big talking points for me. The stuff that I used to blame Nan for.
Poor Nan.
Poor Nan.
I know.
The stuff I used to put off on her is triggers that are really in me, and those pre-existed our relationship. And I think that's true for probably 98% of the situations that people have in life. Now, step couples, step families have additional triggers. They have circumstances that trigger things that pre-existed the family.
Right.
So here's what is the combination. You have stressors now that you have to deal with that tap into things in you that pre-existed this whole family experience.
Yep.
And we end up blaming the people in the room for stuff that's really about me. And you'll never fix what's in you as long as you're blaming it off on somebody else. And so
Amen.
that's a big aim. So you end up inadvertently perpetuating more problems in your blended family and never getting to any resolution because you're unwilling to look in the mirror. Now that's the hard part of this whole thing is I got to look in the mirror and I got to deal with me.
Right. And we could look in that mirror and we could see, oh, why do I have to change? It's always, I'm the bad person. And you could go through that whole thing, or you can look in the mirror and say, you know what? It would be good if I could respond out of thought instead of reaction. Right.
Right.
Yep.
And we had talked about this. A lady that was in the academy talked about how being humble. And I said, we can't put that because people will go, I want nothing to do with that. You bring up being humble and people are like, no.
Well, I think people misunderstand that word, and we might go down a little bit rabbit hole here, but being humble, people often think that it means that you're thinking less of yourself.
Mm.
That's not what being humble is. Being humble means you're thinking more of others, not less of yourself.
Right.
Yes. Yes. In fact, that's one of the elements of that we talk about in this book is looking in the mirror is a very humbling moment. And we've got to be willing to do that. So I've got to tackle myself. I got to contend with me. The root word for the word humble is the same root word that we get the word hummus. And it means from the ground. You know, hummus is a plant that comes from the ground. So to be humble is to be grounded. It's to not think of yourself too highly. It's to not think of yourself too lowly. It's to be grounded, to think of yourself accurately.
Right.
To just see what is true about yourself. And then say, now what do I do with this part of me? How do I respond appropriately out of this moment?
Right.
And so it's not a dig to put on humility. As a matter of fact, it's very attractive to other people when we do that.
Yeah. I was going to say, when you were talking earlier, one of the things I was thinking of is it is very uncomfortable for somebody to realize that they are even part of the problem, much less maybe the whole problem. Let's just go with part of the problem.
Okay.
Right.
And it's very difficult, but I think somewhat necessary and even freeing if you just really go into almost any situation with, what if it's me? Like, whatever the problem is, what if it's me? Or what part do I play in this? And when you start figuring that out, now you're focusing on what you're doing or not doing versus what your spouse is doing or not doing, or whoever else you're talking to. And it changes the dynamic of how you're even approaching the situation.
Yeah.
I have a funny about that.
Okay.
So this week I came home. I needed to just vent about some things. Ron was the recipient of my venting about some things. Nothing he did, just something that had happened. And so I'm venting. And then I get done and I said, thank you for listening. Because I can do that. I needed to pontificate over this situation. And he asked me, he said, so how was your lunch with Brennan? He's our youngest son. And I said, it was great, but man, he had a bee in his bonnet about something. He just went on and on and on. And I caught myself and I was like, oh, snap. That you just experienced what I experienced at lunch. Oh, I guess he is a lot like his mom. And it's like, oh, I gave that to him, or he's seen that or, just that DNA is very strong. But it was at one of those moments where he could have said, yeah, kind of like apple and a tree.
Yeah.
And I
would have done.
I caught myself and went, oh, and then this past Sunday sermon, and it's about this, and it's about pride, and it's about this, and it's about, 1 Corinthians 13 and not keeping a record of wrong. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. He is stepping all over my feet. And that used to not be my posture.
Yeah.
I can receive a message. I can hear from scripture now and say, wow, that is me.
Yeah.
That can be me. And I know where some of that comes from, but also I have to own that. I mean, okay, maybe that was the water I swam in when I was growing up, but it doesn't have to be my reality right now.
Right.
I can walk in grace. I can walk in mercy. I can walk in forgiveness. I don't have to keep a record of wrongs. I can lay that down, and I can let Holy Spirit help me with that. But it is a new day when Nan, because in 2007, when we went into that counseling office, I wanted Terry to fix him. I wanted Terry to take care of his pride. Little did I know I had my own pride, but all I could see was his pride.
Yeah.
And now when I see my pride, then I can work on things, and it just draws us closer. We laugh about that now instead of having an argument over it or it being a dig. Does that make sense?
100%.
Guys, I got to tell you something. So here's my side of this little snap moment for Nan. My side of it is, what I've come to learn about me, part of my reactivity is control and blame. So I'm a really good blame controller. So I would have corrected her at one point. I would have pointed out, hey, you're doing the very thing that drives you crazy about our son.
Oh, yeah,
Brent.
he would have
And
made
where do you
it.
think he got that? I would have been the one who did that.
Yes, you
And
would.
here's what's really stupid, guys. I would have done that thinking that she would be happy with me
He was
doing it.
helping me.
David,
Now that's
you need to pay attention.
No, but see, that would have been the difference there because I do it
Yeah.
just to push her buttons, not.
okay. So you did it for fun, and I do it out of lunacy. So that would have been the case at one season of our life.
Yes,
The fact that she caught herself, I can't tell you how incredibly attractive that is. Like it is like, wait a minute. She's looking in the mirror. She's managing her. That humility, I just saw that, and that is so attractive. And it takes me out of a position of feeling like I got to do something with this thing that she can't see, but I can see. And so the whole control dynamic that would just escalate into more negativity because she'd get defensive and then we'd start. We don't do that.
Right.
Yeah. So
This humility thing we were talking about is really important, but we got to be willing to do the work, look in the mirror, and not just sort of say, what's going on with me? But one of the things we love about Dr. Hargrave's material that we've put into this book is we show you the systematic process to help you understand what's going on with you and how to change it.
Right.
yeah. Now I can envision the moment where she comes to this realization, and you're doing well keeping your mouth shut.
Which is not easy, by the way.
But well, here's the part I'm getting to. How do you control the facial expressions that say more than the words?
I use
Well-
my hair.
Cover with your
'Cause I could keep my mouth shut, but my face would say it all.
Right. I think in that moment, though, I was saying it out of humility. Like, oh my gosh, okay. Oh, I guess our son, I'm experiencing our son, and that's what you're experiencing right now. And it wasn't a, oh, let me catch you in this and let me show you. And you're just so, I wish you wouldn't do that. It was more, I was catching it. And so I'm sure you were surprised that I was even,
I was elated.
humble in that moment. I mean, we have more fun with it now, and fun when we're each owning our stuff and we can receive it than when we were both just stuck in our pride and really wanting to fix one another. That's all that was we were
Right.
wanting to fix each other or get each other to stop doing the things that maybe triggered us, or we just wanted to escape.
Yeah.
And for me, my coping is I'm an overachiever. I do all four of them. I want to blame, I'll shame myself, I'll control with words or emotions, and then I just want to escape if none of the first three are going to work for me. And so but that's just a posture of pride in all of that.
Yes.
And that was a posture in counseling for years, was I just need him to stop doing what he's doing.
And then everything will be great.
It'll be great. We'll have a great marriage if he would just. And I was never cleaning up my side of the street.
Yeah. David, Lori,
Ugh.
I mean, listen to what we're saying. This doesn't fix everything into the world. I don't want anybody going, what? You just deal with yourself and everything gets better with all the
Right.
other people. No, you still got work to do. There's still relationships stuff to build. But if you're not in a posture that is self-control, where you're bringing your best self to the moment, you inadvertently take something that's hard and make it worse. And then they escalate, you trigger each other, and off you go. Things don't get better. And we're not just talking about marriage. These principles are going to apply. In fact, one of the later chapters of the book say, okay, everything that you've just learned about marriage, about how your dynamic works, now apply it to ex-spouses, your boss at work, your friendships, your parenting with your children. Like, the principles hold across all those relationships. So it's really, really ultimately very impactful to just say, I got to bring a better me. And so how do I get a hold of me so that we can at least have a chance of moving through whatever this moment is?
And why wouldn't you want to be the best version of yourself?
Well,
A lot of
I'm
people
so-
think they are, and they're
I'm,
not.
I'm glad you asked, but
True.
I've got a theory about this.
Okay.
We feel hurt, right? The pain is what drives our reactivity. And my pain, I feel justified in my pain. I feel justified. we should back up a step. When you read this book, you're going to discover that anytime you become dysregulated, big neuroscience word that basically means you kind of lose yourself. You just go nuts. So just for a nanosecond inside your brain, and you stop thinking and you just start reacting. And everybody on the planet does this a few times a day. Few times, at least a few times a day. It could be a work stressor. It could be somebody crosses the double yellow line when you're driving home. It could be your child back talks you. Whatever that trigger is, this happens to everybody every day. It happens to couples sometimes, especially if you're in a bad place. We know that. It can happen almost constantly where you're just feeling on edge, anxious, concerned, worried about what's happening on a regular basis. So what happens is when your brain kind of shuts off and you go into fight or flight mode, you basically respond in one of four ways: blame, shame, control, or escape. Nan just said the four ways. Two of those are fight, blame, and control. Two of those are flight, that's escape, and shame, where you're blaming yourself. Okay, so once those things hit, you're now contributing something to the dynamic that is not making it better, only making it worse, and probably triggering the other person's dysregulation. And then they're going to bring blame, shame, control, or escape. One or all four, whatever the combination is. That's this assessment that we put online that people can go and you can learn about which one you are. The point is, once I know that about me, I can't feel entitled to do it anymore. Like when she's done things in the past that have hurt me, I sort of feel like I have the right to be blaming, to be critical, to be negative, to let her know what she's done, and to do it in a manner that is unloving. That entitlement is what I have to be willing to put down. Because as long as I hold on to that, I'm gonna keep doing it. Because you're the one who made me this way. Do you see how the blame gets shifted? And now I'm entitled to be this kind of person. Nothing changes as long as I hold on to that entitlement.
It's just another version of tit for tat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's childhood, 6-year-olds fighting. It's 7th grade arguments between prepubescent children who know, and we become those kids as adults, and it's really, it's really not helpful.
Well, the adult version is, I see you're controlling and I raise you by whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, I'm really glad that y'all wrote this book, because it would be easy for us to sit there and go, Ron has all this experience with families, blended families, and all that stuff. So surely his marriage is perfect, right? Y'all have never hit a rock in the road. But we know that you have.
That's right.
But this book is great for people because it also shows where you were and where you are now and the difference. And in the beginning of the book, basically, Nan came to you one day and was like, one of us is going to have to move out.
She did.
Were you blindsided? Because I hear this all the time about men being blindsided when women say they aren't happy.
Yeah, believe it or not, I wasn't completely blindsided. I was a practicing family therapist at that point in time. I wasn't super dumb. However, I didn't realize that she had gotten to a place where it was make or break something, like this severe reaction from her.
Right.
That I did not anticipate. I knew we were struggling. I knew we had difficulties, but I didn't know it had come to that. And so that was a bit of a shock.
Right.
And she was like, get us some help. And I was like, we had this back and forth about what kind of help.
I just didn't want to live like that anymore. I was tired of the cycle. Our boys were 10, 12, and 14. So they were preteen. Nobody had gotten funky yet as a teenager, it was pretty good, but I could see the handwriting on the wall. I knew they needed their dad. They needed their dad present. They needed their dad in our world, and not just out going and blowing and doing and saving everybody else's family. That's exactly how I felt. And I was tired of being abandoned, and abandonment is a big issue for me. It's what I brought to the table into our marriage, and that taps into that all the time. And, it was just kind of an ultimatum of get us some help or get out, because I don't want to do this. And I love you and have loved you, but I just didn't want to live like that anymore. And I didn't want, although the boys were so clueless, we kept things from them that, they just never saw that. I think it would have been completely blindsided them more than it did you. But we had been not going at it, but living like that in that kind of space for a decade or more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I just kind of, okay, I'll be nice about it and be happy about it, that this is, we had our coping within the bad cycle. And then there'd be times when it wasn't so bad and it was great. And, you can kind of go in and out of those things. It wasn't dreadful all the time, but I don't know what it was. And I also believe it was just God's provision for us 2 years before we lose our son, to get us some help so that everything didn't bottom out. So we go and see Dr. Hargrave, and then 2 years later, our 12-year-old son Connor passes away. So Terry's been walking alongside us to help us with hard and teaching us these principles. And then the bottom drops out, and we're not doing a whole lot of RT. He's just trying to help us do grief and walking alongside us with grief. And I look back now and I think, if we hadn't have had him and had that, I don't know where we would be. So it was a grace, it was a mercy, and it was laying a foundation, because then really after Connor passed, we just had to go in grief mode. And everything just kind of shifts. It really does. It's just kind of crazy. And we were thrust in grief back together. And it was like, I got my husband back for 4 years, because we said the same things. We grieved the same way. We got angry at the same songs. And I mean, we really were neck and neck in our grief over Connor. And then I like to say, Ron read the book of Job and everything was great. And he he just found some solace there. And I was very stuck in my pain.
Yeah.
And then I had started coping in terrible ways with alcohol and prescription medication, which that's my escape. And that was my escape for a decade. And so I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but that day in 2007, I just know that if we hadn't had those 2 years before the worst thing that we've ever had to walk through, I don't know where we'd be right now.
Yeah. Well, I want to say, of course, there are no words that I can say other than I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that y'all had to experience that. It breaks my heart.
That. Thank you so much.
But I do agree with you, because how many couples do you know that the child dies and the parents split? That's more of the norm, right? They can't handle it together. And
I'm glad you brought that up, because we've actually looked into that. We're now 16 years past our son's death, and we've found ourselves speaking on grief and working with groups. And we actually volunteer with a grief ministry for parents who have lost a child, and we help lead a group. And so we've looked into some of those details. And the good news is that the numbers you often hear quoted about couples who divorce after losing a child is not reality. It's actually not nearly as bad as everybody thinks.
It's not in the 90%. It's like 16 or less.
Oh, wow.
It's actually very small.
Yeah.
And here's what we've learned. But we have walked with couples who have had difficulties. But what the research shows is that if you were having difficulties before the child passed away, that sends you further down that road.
Right.
If you were doing pretty well or had a good marriage before a child passed away, you tend to keep going together. So it's not just the loss. All of that to say, it is a massive, massive loss.
Massive stressor.
And it changes everything in your life. Your listeners know that story. They just have their own version of it. By death or by divorce, something came apart.
Yeah.
And they're in a blended family now because somebody somewhere said no or walked away or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know that before and after experience. We have a different before and after experience, but we definitely know the difference.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm going to lighten the mood a bit.
Good.
So when Nan said you've got to leave, was there any part of you that said, I can finally be in a blended family?
This
will be great for my work.
Yeah.
Hey.
So here's the answer. No, absolutely not. I was going to fight for my marriage. That's what I was going to do.
But there are times when I do get very dysregulated and I get emotional and I'm like, I can make that book, and all those books are reality, buddy. So,
oh boy.
No.
You about to use everything you learn, Ron.
That's right. I'll be throwing those copies at you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's right.
No.
So Nan, do you ever instead of arguing with him, like highlight a portion of his book and just leave it on the nightstand for him?
No. Let me just tell you a story about.
Throw the book at me. But she's not going to highlight something.
So he's in graduate school. He's becoming Mr. Hoop-de-Doo man. And
I love you, Nan.
learning all the things and thinks he knows all the things, because he sat in class. But anyway, I came home from school, had some stressors with some parents, and he just said, well, tell me about your day. Sharing my day. And he said, well, you know what you should do.
Oh, Lord.
This is back in 1992.
I'm
right?
like, so I went and got my purse. I'm going to date myself, got out a checkbook and wrote a check for him and said, here you go, Mr. Counselor, here's your check. I wrote a check to him, threw it at him. I'm like, I don't need your counseling.
By the way, I picked up the check, looked at it and said, I'm worth a whole lot more than this.
Yeah, he did.
We would go back and forth and back and forth. Yeah. That shows you, the seeds of what later blew up in our relationship. Like, we were having lots of fun. There was a lot of sarcasm and just joking with each other during that season of our life. But there were also pain points that we just didn't know how to navigate and how to get through. And, everybody has them. Triggers don't stop this side of the grave. They do not stop. This book is not going to help you figure out how to have a perfect life. That doesn't exist. Our marriage is not perfect. 39 years. We've been married. We still have triggers. We still have moments. We still have moments where we respond very poorly and have to forgive,
rein it in
and pull it back and repair. And there are other moments, though, where we're like, you know what? We would have had a 2-week fight
exactly
at an earlier season of our life. But just look at what just happened. We just resolved that in about 3 minutes. And it's so different now.
Can I say this, though, for the person that's possibly in an abusive situation? And I never want anybody, a husband or wife, in an abusive situation, emotional, spiritual, or physical, to hear us say, oh, just work on yourself and then it'll be okay. No, there are some safety issues there, some boundaries that have to be set. Get some help, get a mentor, get a counselor, get out if you have to. That is not what we're saying. Also, if you have an addictive behavior, I had an addiction for 10 years. I am so grateful I hit bottom and I got help. I think if you are in an addictive behavior, that's your coping for your pain. Sometimes you need to get some help. Maybe it's a program that helps you with that, along with reading our book and doing this. But I think you need to get some professional help. I know I did. I know I needed help. I needed to go to regeneration. I needed my 12 steps. I do them all the time as I'm doing my 4 steps from the book. And it's what grounds me. I serenity prayer every day. And I have to do that because I know if triggered, I can go. Escape is just such a common rut for me to go into. And I need to stop and take a pause, and I need to look at myself and review the things that I've learned, because you don't get there overnight, especially in addictive behavior.
Right. Yeah.
I hope that's helpful for someone.
100%. I've actually got a friend that was her escape, and it was alcohol. And
Yeah.
then it changed to bath salts, surprisingly enough.
Wow.
And this was
Yeah.
years ago. And at the time, there was only one place within like a 1,000-mile radius that I
Mm.
could take her to, and it was in Kentucky. So I was going to go kidnap her with two of my friends. We'd already planned it. We were going to go snatch her
Yeah.
up, throw her in the car, and take her.
That's the intervention, not
Yeah.
Do
kidnapping.
an intervention. Yeah.
It sounded better
Yeah.
to say kidnapping. But on the way, like we were going to do that the next weekend, but I was driving home that day and something hit me, and I know it was God. And he said, call her mom. I'm like, no, I am
Mm.
not telling on her. We're not little kids, you know. And it was
Mhm.
to call her mom. And I called her mom, and of course I was upset, and I was like, look, she can never talk to me again, but she's going to die if something
Mm.
does not change.
Yeah.
And so her mom talked to her, and there was a murder actually in town near a church, and Holly knew the people that were murdered. So anyway, she is now a preacher.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's got all this, you know, she helps with recovering addicts, and she's got a
That's
women's
awesome.
ministry, and it's so great. And I can't tell you how much or how proud I am of her, because
Mm.
I know that wasn't easy. I saw her hitting bottom.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so I know from Ron's perspective, him seeing you hit bottom broke his heart.
Yes, absolutely.
But seeing you
Absolutely.
now gives us joy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add a layer on that of reality, because somebody's listening right now and they're going, well, I sure would wish my spouse would hit bottom about
Mm.
whatever escape that is, you know, gambling, porn, you name it. The list goes on
Yeah.
and on and on. When she started to change, I wasn't sure I could trust it, right?
Mhm.
Because I had grown to a place of knowing what she was capable of, and that I couldn't trust her. And so that safety was not there. So when she began to go into recovery, and I was like, yes, go. I was cheerleading, but I was also very guarded and cautious and holding back. And it's
Mhm.
like I had to see a new track record. We talk about that in the book. When bridges have been burned,
Mhm.
how do you rebuild a relationship? And that was one of those pieces, is you have to slowly begin to rebuild trust within the relationship. And that is a slow build, especially after it's been hurt.
And also, I had to do my own work. Ron couldn't do it for me.
No, he
And
couldn't.
Ron couldn't talk me into it. And I had to hit bottom, and it had to be God saying, okay. So, I cried out to him that day. It was COVID a long story there, but I just am so thankful for COVID. And it was as if I said, okay, I don't want to live this way anymore, God. I want to live your way. And he
Mhm.
was like, I can work with this girl. Okay,
Mhm.
let's go. And it was a month in before I even knew about my program that I went to. And I went my first night, not even in the town that we live in. I went down to visit my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. And my brother-in-law took me to my first meeting. And I remember sitting in the parking lot, and I couldn't go in. And I started crying. And he goes, what are you doing? And he's like my best friend and brother, and the brother I never had. And I just love him so much. And he had done this program 3 years prior to me. And I said, I can't do this. I'm not doing it with Ron, and I'm doing it by myself. And he said, you can't not do this. I mean, this had God all over it. This has nothing to do with Ron. This has everything to do with you and your brokenness and your pain. He is meeting you here.
Mhm.
This is your work to do. And it's going to be the most amazing ride. I will never forget that.
Yeah.
And I tried to stay in my lane that whole year and a half with every step that I did. Now, there were some times in that inventory when I wanted to do Ron's inventory, and God just kept gently saying, you cried out to me, and this is you and me. And I
Right.
got you.
Mhm.
And I trusted him. I trusted him through the whole process. And I did not trust Ron, because I knew I had to do the work, and I wasn't doing it for him. I was doing it for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Now, well,
Ah,
I have a question.
yeah.
What made you decide to be so open about this? Because I know when we decided to do Nacho Kids, it wasn't easy to air our dirty laundry. I mean, the
Mhm.
whole world
Mhm.
knows what we went through.
Right. You're laying
And
it
the
out there.
same thing with y'all. And, we look at it as we went through these trials and things, and now it's our testimony. Is that how you feel?
Yes,
Mhm.
and for me, I will say it's not like testimony as in it's over and done with, and we're just showing you the bright side. No, we're still a work in progress.
Mhm. Mhm.
But what we've learned is that we are incredibly normal. And if somebody has the guts to be humble and go first, other people flock to that and say, me too.
Mhm.
And the next thing you know, the walls are down, the pretend is over.
Mhm.
Everybody can just be normal with you. And we're on this journey together. Like
Mhm.
this is not a, hey, we've mastered it, come follow us moment. This
Right.
is a, no, we're still a mess, but we're a little less than a mess than we were. And we'd like to help you be less of a
Mhm.
mess as well. And I think people understand it. They flock to that. They're attracted to it.
Because it's
And it's
reality, right? I mean,
because it's
Right.
reality for all of
yeah.
us.
Here's my side of that. I, I've never wanted a platform, and I never wanted a husband who had a platform.
Me either.
I,
Oops.
To both
I,
of those. I am so
you know,
introverted. Like, this is so hard for me.
yes, and I never wanted my family out there. We've been in a fishbowl. My children have been in a fishbowl. It's not something I have ever wanted. I mean, I dreamed of marrying a guy that maybe was a postman and, he worked 9 to 5 and free on the weekends and, there's just nothing with his name on it, but I don't know. I don't know. That seems safe to me. And I don't want to be out there. I don't want all of that. But I will tell you this, when I hit bottom and I really came to the end of myself and I finally figured out how broken I was, how dark it was, how lonely and isolating, how it was just a pit I was in and a pit I was living in for a long time.
Yeah.
The freedom that I have found, the grace, the mercy, the forgiveness, the love. And, there were a lot of nights when I started drinking after Ron fell asleep. I literally was in the closet. I hid my alcohol in the closet. And I'll never forget after I became clean and I'm just on this wonderful journey with God and He is just carrying me so lovingly through it. I was in my closet one afternoon and I just thought, I'm going to start getting in my closet and getting down on my knees and praying.
Instead of drinking, right?
Right. And so I'm down on my face praying before the Lord, and out from the clothes comes an empty bottle.
Huh.
I'm not kidding you.
I'd be screaming, out devil in Jesus. And I'd be
I felt as if God said, yeah, that's what this was for, but not anymore.
yeah.
And I love
Look,
you.
goosebumps.
And if you'll just walk through a door, will you be faithful and just bring me glory? And that's why.
Yeah.
I do that for a mom or a dad that's in the closet because they're numbing, or I just am so, I cannot thank Him enough. And I want to spend the rest of my time here on earth that I have, because I do feel some shame in that. And I do feel like I have wasted some time. But I know now I just want to be real, authentic. And if it helps one person, yay, God. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because, I mean, really, you were hiding who you were for so long.
Sure.
Now, and Ron, did you know when she was going through this? Did you suspect anything? Because a lot of people we work with, they don't realize that their partners have these addictions because they do wait till Ron goes to sleep before they do it. And so it's like, how did I not see this?
Yeah, so I knew some, but I didn't know
The
the
extent.
depth of it. I didn't, because she hit it really well.
And I lied really well.
And she didn't drink during the daytime.
no.
I mean, kept her day job, and a lot of things were normal, if we could just say it that way. So yeah, I knew, but no, I didn't.
And it was a slow, a decade of it. It's slow at first, but boy, those last 2 years, it took on a life of its own. And I actually lied to physicians too. So I was on a lot of medication. And then, so you're not drinking alcohol with this? No.
Yeah.
And I have one physician say, I cannot believe you're still alive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so therefore I'm like, okay, Lord, you're going to use me. I'm going to be used by you. And, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys can see we're teaching somebody else's principles that have
Yes.
made the world a difference for us.
Yeah.
This book, The Mindful Marriage, is not our brag story. This is all my other books that I've written for blended families. That was me. Okay. This one is really about Dr. Terry Hargrave and his wife Sharon
Yes.
and their
Yes.
genius. We're just helping to communicate the principles and give them to people in a way that's very user friendly. That's our goal. That's our only hope.
Yeah.
Right.
So we often run into, and you probably have to, we run into couples, well, we run into half of a couple that they're wanting to fix a problem in the relationship.
Mhm.
And the question usually is, can I do this by myself? Do I have to have my spouse or significant other involved?
It's a good question.
Will it work if only one of us is trying? So
Yeah.
speak to that as far as the mindful marriage goes.
Okay, so you can't change another person, right? We all know that. But you can make it harder for them to stay that way. Here's what I mean by that. When you deal with yourself, manage your part of in the book, we kind of flesh out, you have an individual pain cycle. That is, this often predates this wedding, this person that you're with. It goes back to childhood. Oftentimes, there's some things that are neurologically set in your brain about when you feel this particular unloved or unsafe moment, you will react with blame, shame, control, or escape. It's neurological at this point in your life. That's your individual pain cycle. When my cycle intersects with her cycle, we have a couple pain cycle. And in the book, you're going to map and sequence it. You're going to see it in black and white. You're going to actually physically write in the book what your pain cycle is. And when you step back from it, you're like, oh my gosh, that's us. And it's kind of scary how incredibly good that little assessment is. Okay. So if I'm the only one doing the work, I'm still half of the pain cycle. Like I'm still managing me in a different way that prevents the couple pain cycle from going full cycle, if I could say it that way. In other words, when I change my part of it, it makes a massive difference in our dance. Think of it this way. Let's go with the dance metaphor. If you've been doing the rumba as a couple for 2 months or 20 years, you both know how to rumba really well. You both know what the other one's about to counter with. And you know when you say this, they're going to do that. Like at some point, our conflicts are just the old but dance pattern, and everybody knows exactly what's going to happen, right? But if all of a sudden you begin to waltz, now imagine Nan doing the rumba, and I'm over here doing a waltz step. She can't rumba. Something has to change. Now, I didn't control her. I didn't dictate. I'm not telling her what to do. I'm just managing me better. There's an invitation there. It's a soft invitation. There's no guarantee that it's going to be an immediate fix, but there's a soft invitation for her to go, what are you doing? We're supposed to rumba. You're doing the waltz. Why are you doing the waltz?
What's wrong with you, Ron?
Exactly.
Break dance.
And the more I maintain my dance, my new dance step, the less likely it is she can rumba. And there's definitely no way we can rumba.
Right.
If that makes sense. At the end of the day, something is changing.
Yes.
And you can have that influence. But here's the shift. Like Nan said earlier, most of us spend our entire life trying to change our partner. That's a dead end street.
Yes.
Start changing you and keep managing that, and it will produce some sort of change in your usness.
Yeah. You agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm excited that you're making these changes.
Just keep reading, Laura. You'll do fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I need my next book. Well, actually,
My next book.
Yeah.
You got to finish the first one.
the first one.
Maybe you should ask Ron how to write a book so fast.
Oh no, this was a 4-year journey.
Well, she's been working hard for 10.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, I have to say,
Keep at it. Keep
I
at it.
started it and then there was a hiccup that threw my brain off. And it was like, that's not right. This isn't working. This isn't what I want to do. And so it was a complete reset. What about 6 months ago? I'm like, I've got it now.
Yeah, she threw the
I
whole
know
thing
what
away.
to do.
Started all over.
Yep, I started all over. So hopefully, I'm telling you, if you could take care of the dogs for one day, I could finish that book. Just
So you see how she just put this whole thing on me.
Uh-huh,
I
uh-huh.
did. I saw it.
That's blame, by the way.
oh man, maybe I have to retake that
If you could
assessment.
just
And did you hear her? She said dogs, plural.
Oh yeah, we're dog people, but she wants to be dogs people.
I only have one, and that's just not enough.
go ahead and tell her your story.
So we already had a dog. We got like 12, 13 years ago.
Yep.
And David had said, we won't get a dog until I know I'll take care of it. Talking about him.
Mm.
Because I wasn't really a dog person. I had dogs growing up, but I didn't want them in my house and all this stuff. Well, around Christmas, he comes home with this cute little puppy.
Oh,
This was
see?
Christmas like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I couldn't leave her outside. It was cold, right?
Oh,
Well,
good job.
and we talk about this a lot with the Nacho Kids. She's what brought the family together. She was something
Aw.
everybody loved, right?
Oh.
That one
And
thing.
so she is the most loved dog in the world. And she doesn't love me, though. Like she'll
Oh,
come
no.
up to me to pet her. And if I pet her, she'll
Oh,
lay
no.
on me, but don't want me to touch her, right?
Oh,
She's David's dog, really. And so during COVID, I got sick and I made a poor decision. I got 2 Malinois puppies.
oh no.
Yeah, siblings,
Oh.
which if you've never heard
Oh
of
yeah, no, yeah.
litter mate
Oh,
syndrome,
yeah,
it's
little-
true.
Oh yeah, it is. No.
Yes. So now we have the crazy dogs is what we call them. But David said that I got them because I missed the craziness of his kids being here.
That's it.
Mm,
I'm sure that's it.
Yeah. Which in reality, I only got 2 because nobody was taking them. They were already 13 weeks old. And I was like, well, I'll get one and then I'll find a home for the other. And then Dave was like, you can't do that. Well, who do you think takes care of them?
Mm.
Look at everybody's pointing.
Yeah.
Come here, puppies. Come
Then
here.
she'll say, now instead of having one dog that's David's, now there's 3 dogs that's David's.
Yeah, because I said, I just want one that loves me. And I said,
Yeah.
whichever one runs to me when they get out of their little crates, from the transport, that's the one I'm going to keep. That's going to be mine. Well, she is mine. But it's funny. We'll make comments about the dogs. Well, your dog.
Yeah. Like our kids. Yeah.
Sounds like
Yeah.
Your
stepchildren.
step
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah. Yep. And even the interaction with the older dog and the puppies is like
Oh,
kids and bio kids. It's
Yes.
crazy.
Why'd
Yeah.
you do this to my life? Yeah.
Well, yeah, the older dog looks at me a lot like I hate you.
yeah.
My life
It was
good.
fine. It was
Mhm.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, what made y'all decide to write the book? Because, like you said, you did this. Goodness, I got a frog in my throat. Like you said, you met with them a long time ago. So,
Yeah.
and it took you 4 years, right? But
Yeah.
what was the moment that you were like, we need to write this book?
Wow.
I
Good.
think-
That's a good question.
I think they approached you and approached us. I mean, the 4 of us were going to write it together, and we did. But I think for me, it was I wanted to take these very hard thinking concepts and put them on the bottom shelf for people like me.
Hmm.
Because Terry and Sharon both have all those hoop-de-doo degrees, just like Ron. And I just thought, I want to put the cookies on the bottom shelf for people like me because this has been so helpful for me.
Mhm.
And they were so open to
Mhm.
take their concepts and go, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What motivated me was I'd spent years, well, first of all, made a difference personally in us,
Mm-hmm.
but then I was able to use it as a therapist and working with step
Yeah.
families. And for years, I did marriage intensives with step family couples, for example, and used these principles and saw dramatic change, not just in their marriage, but how it then rippled into their whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just saw it, and it was growing. There's a restoration therapy is the model, what it's called in the academic world, and it's moving, throughout the country and around the world. People getting trained in it, and so we saw the success of it, felt it personally and professionally, and sat down with the Hargraves one day and just said, "Man,
Yeah.
This stuff is too good to keep hidden. We've got to take it to the masses, and that's what this book is.
And we wanted to help all couples. We wanted to help
First time married, blended.
Yeah.
We talked to blended
Mhm.
some in the book about some of the
Yeah.
intricacies of step-family relationships.
Sure.
So it really has broad application.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, would you also recommend this for somebody who is pre-marriage or pre-blend, or
Yeah, because think about it. This individual pain cycle, I carry with me separate and apart from anybody in my world, right?
Mhm.
It's already there. So the first half of the book is really me learning about me and then how I bring that to our usness. So absolutely. There will be an application one day for singles because, as I said, the principles hold true about navigating stress and difficult moments. And that's true whether I'm talking marriage, parenting, sibling relationships, you name it. And so for somebody who's single, it still has application to their life.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I guess your next book could be The Mindful Man.
Yep.
And then the
Mindful woman, the mindful
Yeah.
single, the mindful parent.
The
Hey, what about
mindful
the mindful
pet owner.
teenager?
Mindful
Oh
Teenager.
yeah, mindful pet owner. Don't get too malawaz should be your first sentence.
Yeah. It's like the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. It could be
There
the
you go.
Mindful series.
No,
So there you go.
no. One and done. One and done. And I want everyone to see that my brain is bigger in this graphic. I just had to say that.
That's
I was feeling
perfect.
the vibe of the show, and I don't get to say that on every podcast, but that is me. Is that me? That's me.
No,
No, that's me, and my brain is much bigger than this.
Awesome.
Well, I have no doubt of that after meeting you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice. It's always nice to meet another good button pusher because,
Oh,
Do you think she's a button pusher?
yes.
oh yeah.
It takes one to know one, right?
Okay, Ron, just real quick. Do you understand button pushing? Because I don't.
Oh, yeah.
To me, the stuff that he does, I'm like, that hurts people's feelings or that riles them up. Why would you want to do that? And his 98-year-old grandma, one day, I asked her, we called her Bubba. I said, Bubba, why do you do that? She said, because I can.
That's all right. That's all right. And I can get away with it.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
But
Well-
I've noticed I am starting to get some of those button pushing traits.
Yeah. I told her, I said, I do it because it's fun. If you ask most people, it's like there's something funny about it.
Yeah, and he's got
Yeah.
my son doing it too. Great.
Oh, even better than that, my 3-year-old grandson is a
Oh,
master button pusher.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. He will call his uncle by the wrong name repeatedly, knowing that it's not his name,
that's hysterical.
Mhm.
just because it gets on his nerves.
Yeah, and he'll tell me, he'd say, I
Wow.
don't love you, yo-yo.
Well,
But if I say- What?
David, what goes around comes around. So get ready. That
That's
you
right.
I met
3-year-old
my
baby.
match.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one
Oh,
thing you
man.
said about this book and the restoration theory is what we talk about with Nacho Kids.
Mm.
And I didn't realize it at the time that we created Nacho Kids, but after I did all this work on myself, I was riding on the road one day and this car was on my butt. And usually I would tap my brakes, be like, you get ready to eat a butt end of a Honda, buddy. Now I'm like, whew, I pull over, I'll be like, see ya, but I go around. My life is so much more peaceful
It is.
because I have control of those emotions. And
Yep.
it's not sweeping them under the rug. It's
No,
completely not having them.
Yeah,
right.
That's so different. What you're saying, Lori, like that is a totally different experience. Here's the bottom line. Before, when you would be like, that's dysregulation. Get ready to, hit my tail end. But that's dysregulation, and you're going into blame, shame, control, or escape. It'd be a control mechanism for you to make him kind of bump you, or at least scare him a little bit. Whatever, that reactivity from you, and you're reacting out of pain. Here's the bottom line: pain, as in I'm unsafe. So I'm going to give it back. Blame, shame, control, or escape. You're controlled by your own pain.
Yes.
Now you live in peace, being controlled by choice, by decision. We call it what's true about you and about life
Right.
and about your relationship. Like you get centered in values rather than in pain. Now think about that. Do you want to be controlled by pain? Most people walk through their entire life, have no idea how much pain manages who they are and how they are.
Yeah.
Or do you want to be that person? Or do you want to be a person who is liberated from your pain and lives out of truth by choice and by values and becomes the person you like?
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
You like yourself more
Oh,
when you do that.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your
I-
relationships have an opportunity to
And,
thrive.
and it's not stuffing. For me, it's not stuffing because there are still things that he does that irritate me. Things he
honey, yeah,
says
there's
or
still stuff that irritate me. But
choices he makes or my adult kids.
Mhm.
But is it a hill I want to die on?
right.
You know, do I really want my mouth and my emotions to just lead and then it's havoc? Or do I want to take a breath and go, wait a minute, what's going on with me?
Mhm.
What do I normally do in this situation?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Is that walking in my flesh or is that walking in the spirit?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to breathe. This is happening. Okay, he said something that was insensitive, but do I really want to be the person that walks around offended all the time and just is going to react? Or do I want to walk in self-control and kindness?
Right.
Now, I can do a confrontation and go, hey, you know, that wasn't very kind, and I'd appreciate it if you not do that.
And by the way,
Love you.
if she says that confrontation that way, I will listen to that.
Right.
If she does her usual old self,
Blah.
then I'm on the defense and I got my blame,
The
shame, control,
toxic
escape
waste.
going,
Mhm.
and now we're off and running. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so she's still bringing it up. She's
I'm
just,
still feeling the feels. It's still happening. The people on the road are still driving crazy
Yes.
or whatever. Your boss is still being very controlling, or your kids are still out there going,
disobedient or whatever.
not making good choices or listening to you or taking advantage of you in some way
Oh,
financially.
yeah, we can write
whatever
books
it
on
is.
that.
You know, what I mean, this side of heaven, it's not going to be perfect.
Right.
And we're all fallen and we all fall short.
100%.
And so I don't know. I just feel like if I can take that breath and get grounded and know what's going on with me, then I just so want Holy Spirit to come in and guide my thoughts, my heart, my soul. Give me the strength.
Yeah.
That's when I'm saying, okay, Lord, let me just say that serenity prayer because sometimes I don't have the wisdom to
Yeah.
know what to say or what to do or not, or hold my tongue.
Right. To me, it's giving things the proper emotional weight.
There you go.
And like, I'm not going to let you steal my joy. I'm not going to
That's well
let
said.
you ruin my day
Right.
because you're in a bad mood. In
Right.
fact, if you're at the McDonald's or something and you seem to be having a bad mood, I'll say, have a great day.
Mhm.
You know, rather than, well, she was rude. It's
Yeah.
she
Right.
must be going through a lot. So, and
Right.
a lot of that is just changing our
Yeah.
perspective too.
Sure. Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you're in your reactivity, you cannot be compassionate for another
Right.
person
Yep.
because you are all up in your feels, as Dan says. You are pain driven and pain encapsulated.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's no way to be empathic, to be considerate, to be, oh, wait a minute, maybe she's in pain too. I wonder what's going on with her. Like, I can't even put on that level of curiosity when I'm wrapped up in my own pain.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
So now I'm demanding that you attend to me. You're demanding that I attend to you. And neither one of us is going to do it.
Mhm.
Right.
See, all of that just leads to conflict and hardship in your relationship and distress. It just makes things worse.
Yes.
Yep.
As long as you're a slave to that pain, you're not able to be loving, to be compassionate, to be
Right.
considerate.
And with pain comes hurt, and hurt people hurt people.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are people in your life that are not doing their work and they may not do their work. Okay.
Mhm.
But I can do my work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can do my work. And I can't do their work for them as much
Right.
as I want to. I can't,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. Well, we could talk to y'all forever.
I
It's
know.
been
By the
fun.
way,
This
are you
is
going to be in Tennessee, Nan?
I
In
am.
October? Okay.
I
Well, we're
am.
coming. We're going to be
Oh,
there.
Yay.
You're
Yeah.
coming to our
And I'm
summit on Step Family
Yeah.
Ministry?
Yeah.
And I'm
Fantastic. Love
bringing
it.
my Willie, my Ron and his
She's a
team.
therapy. They're a
Yeah.
therapy team, therapy
My
dog, and
Yeah, I'm
so
bringing her.
you're
I
gonna
get to
get to
bring
meet
her.
her.
She gets to work the room and
Oh, that's
bring everyone
awesome.
joy and make them calm. And yeah, so I get to bring her.
That's good.
Our dogs
I
would
love
not make people
Nashville.
calm.
I don't know. If
Yeah.
they had treats, they might would.
So how can people get the book and find you online?
Yeah. Well, rondeal.org. Rondeal.org is the best single place to go. You guys know I run the Blended Family Ministry for Family Life. And so we have all kinds of blended family stuff, book, video, podcast, curriculum for people in churches. We do training like this summit you're going to be coming to. That's my day job, day in and day out. We have 9 books in the Smart Step Family series on finances, stepmom, stepdad, the Building Love Together and Blended Families that I wrote with Gary Chapman. So we have lots of resources. But rondeal.org will get you to that space. It'll get you to my personal website for step families, and it will point you to the conferences that Nan and I are doing together based around this book, The Mindful Marriage. The book's available wherever books are sold. So if you like Amazon or you like Barnes and Noble, or you just want to walk into a bookstore, they can get it for you.
Okay. Now, are you doing a podcast on this too?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, not around this.
Okay.
I do the Family Life Blended
Okay.
podcast.
Yeah. I know you did the family life. I just didn't know if y'all were going to do a podcast, because you should. Nan is hilarious.
Oh, she is. I know. I've been trying to. Thank you. You're helping. I appreciate that.
There you go, Nan.
I don't know.
Remember, she didn't want a platform.
Yeah.
I get it 100%.
Post office.
Yeah. I tell you what, when we first started doing the podcast, I was like, David, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But even now, I finally can do podcasts by myself. Woohoo! It took a while. But even when we go to record stuff for the academy, if he's not beside me, I'm a blubbering mess. I just, but you put him beside me, I'm fine. Even when we
That's
speak
cool.
at events and stuff, it's the same way. And
That's
I think
cool.
it's because I know if I mess up, he's got my back. Or if there's
Yeah.
that pause that's too long, he's going to say something stupid and make everybody laugh.
We're all better. We're all better together.
That's
So
right.
You're a good team, and we appreciate what you guys are doing for all your listeners. It's great.
Thanks
Yep.
for having us today.
Yeah, it was great. We'll have to have you back.
Love it.
We love it.
We
All
would
right.
love to do that.
Great. And we will see y'all in October in Tennessee.
All righty.
All right.
care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.